Okay, let's say you bought a BC348 and you built yourself a nice power supply. I showed you how to do that in 2 different videos. Same supply, slightly different configuration. Okay, now you're using the radio, it's working. You've used a transformer on the headphones jack to step down the high voltage audio into 8 ohms. You used maybe a filament transformer. You didn't budge the radio in any way, shape, or form. Okay, you got an original radio. Now you start dialing frequencies, and it might start with the second band, which is the top of the AM broadcast band, and you notice the station's not lining up with the dial. All right, the only thing you touch, I'm going to tell you right now, is the oscillator. This box here, okay? And it's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the bands. Now, if you go look at the pictorial, they'll make you nuts. I think they call this one 6.2 or 6-2. All right, you don't need the manual to fix the dial. All right, all you're going to do is gently turn one of these. Okay, and you can use a regular screwdriver. On this type, this is like a porcelain. Okay, but anyway, you can get away with a regular screwdriver. You can use one of those doodle tools. Okay, now on this model, these babies are already turning like white chalky, but I was able to fix it. Now this is the AM, this is the second band up. The bottom is long wave. This is the AM, top of the AM broadcast band. And this is the one I wanted to fix. I know I have a station that's 1600. So I put the station, the dial on the station itself, and I turn this. Okay, you get it in there. All right. See now, it's funny when stuff's on camera. Okay, it's in there. See, I can let go. And you slowly move this. I mean a tiny amount. And you slowly turn this so you actually walk your dial towards where it should be. Okay? You don't touch anything on this radio. This radio does not have 455 IFs. There'll be people that argue with you. Oh, all radios are 455. No, they're not. The IF frequency of this radio is 915 kilohertz. It's not 455. And here's the IF cans over here. Let's see if they're in the frame. These are IF cans. This model has 4 of them. All right, now the other thing too is you have a 3-tune front end, and it's labeled, but each band has 2 adjustments. All right, don't touch them. Don't touch them. You really can't bodge a radio up if you screw this up. All right, the person that gets it after you, if they have any brains at all, can straighten it out really easily. If you touch any of these adjustments, okay, or the IFs, and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to piss that person off real bad. You've just bodged the radio. Keep the original the radio as original as you can. All right, it's that simple. Now you say, well, I have an RF generator. Are you sure it's really accurate, or is it for AA All American 5 radios? And the dial on there is so off that when you put it to 455 and you start adjusting the IFs, you go, boy, these IFs are way off. They're not way off. Your signal generator is off. I went through this with a guy. I was helping somebody, and it turned out his test equipment was way off, and he was worried about his radio. The radio was fine. And then he got in there. Oh, and then the other thing that could happen to you too is you could break one of these tuning capacitors. Good luck taking this apart, getting that out, and replacing that. Okay? Learn to touch as little as you can, or as little as you should. Okay? It's that simple with these radios. Go no further than this. All right? And if you can't get that frequency in, leave it alone. Okay? Each one, like I said, it's a different band. Long wave to the band that's at the top of the radio, which probably goes up to 18 megacycles. Or megahertz now. 18 megahertz is number 6. Number 1 is the long wave. You probably only have adjust in 2 or 3 bands, your favorite bands, you might have to adjust in. And you use WWV or CHU Canada, or if you have a good digital radio, you could use a shortwave station to touch it up, okay? But don't go any further than touching this, okay? I've gotten enough bodged radios in my time. You know, when you know the person, he didn't align it. He aligned it to a bad generator. And these radios, for peak performance, they have a triple tune front end, okay? 1, 2, 3. And that has to track. You could put a frequency into that and then tune it up and peak it up, and it's like, this is wonderful. Then when you go to the low end of the band, or the low end of the band or the high end of the band, it doesn't work as good. That's because it's a compromise when you do an alignment. Leave these alone. These will drift very little over the years. Now, what causes the oscillator to go off on you is you change the power supply, or you change some of the capacitors, or the oscillator tube got changed, or it's losing a little bit of gain. As the oscillator loses a little bit of gain, the oscillator tube loses gain, the frequency will go off a little bit, okay? So if you change the oscillator tube, or if you change the power supply, or you recap the radio, the dial's going to be a little bit off. And this is the only bad baby you touch, okay? I'm doing this. There is another alignment guy that did alignment on this radio, and right away he's up on these guys, okay? I'm warning you. You'll be so sorry you ever touched this radio. You're like, I should have left it alone. So many people have touched this radio and made it worse, drilled holes in wrong places. It's sad. And they made, I think, 100,000 of this model. You know, the different Q's and R's and S's, but I believe I read 100,000. So there's a lot of these sitting somewhere that someone's bodged. There's a bunch of them that have been left in a damp cellar. It's sad. But, you know, if it really bugs you enough, long wave, AM, and it works its way up, okay? And you just touch it. And first thing you do is you put the radio on the frequency that you want to move to the dial. And you put your screwdriver in there, you just crack it, and you'll see it shifts. And then you make sure you're shifting it the right way, slowly work your way up to where it should be, okay? That's it. That's all I can tell you. I've been doing this since I was in high school. And the other people, oh, the radio was way off. You're using a freaking ICO signal generator that someone bodged, and well, it was way off. Now, even with a generator, they had some signal generators years ago. You could put a crystal in the front. Well, they're not going to do 915 kilohertz, 915 kilohertz. They were set up to do like 455s. So I've warned you, okay? And don't contact me, hey, could you fix my radio for me? No, those days are gone, okay? The shipping and handling of this heavy stuff is more than you'll want to pay to have it fixed. I think that's it. All right, that's it.